well, how the politics are nowadays, where they've gone, where they're going, and it's caused people like me that are somewhere in, I don't want to say the middle, because you say you're center and it becomes this thing too. I watch a lot of different news, a lot of different places, a lot of different points of view. So one of the big reasons I think I needed to start making videos like this was that I listen to so much, and yet I don't really talk about it. I just try to live my life, enjoy my times with friends and family, and if it comes up, it comes up, and I'm very excited to share, because it's constantly there. This show, whatever it is, it's gonna be very personal. It just seems like it. I have some boundaries, but if it involves some matter of needing to express my own sense of what would be the word? Validity, accreditation. Let's choose a starting point, so I'm not just all over the place. I appreciate, by the way, that I've found kind of somewhere to go with where I'm continuing to draw. I'm just drawing eyes and stuff, and not really making something, but that's okay. It's a process. I'm smudging this a whole bunch. Let's make a little something new here. Keep drawing to the corner of the screen. There we go. When I got to college, I grew up in an area where you didn't really thought of being politically correct just wasn't a thing. So when I first got to college, and I started to hang out in LGBT spaces, I thought, I want to learn the right way to do things. And I did. And I found quickly in my third year that I was struggling. With feeling like, whoa, I actually kind of don't agree with some of this stuff. And I didn't have a place really in my own. I guess maybe I could have talked to my friends about it, but I just felt so afraid. To be called internally transphobic, which is a phrase that's used to describe someone who hates themselves for being trans. Look, I'll be the first to tell you, I struggle with my own sense of my own shame, really, but that's my own personal thing. But when we're talking how we should do things in the world, it hits a part of me that gets very emotional, I guess. Back to, I realized I was talking about where my hormones were. Finally this year, I stopped going to the doctor that I was going to and went to another doctor. And it has been, it's been good. I've finally been put on a better dosage. I am finally at a place in life where I feel like I am transitioning. I'm beginning to live the life that I've always wanted to live. And a lot of changes are coming along with that. I've also done a lot this year for my mental health, did a lot of therapy, and have put in a lot of work. Let's see, where are we going with this piece? Where are we going? Let's make we're getting to the sort of edge, but not really. So let's start with a new little what are we gonna call this planet? A land. Maybe it can be something. Let's see. Make something large again. Let's see where it comes. Where it goes. So yeah, this year's been very transformational for me. I've find myself wanting to really push forward and do the things I've always wanted to do. It includes putting my artwork out there, as well as putting myself out there. And just see where that goes. Yeah. Curious about something here. No, I'm looking for número 7. Sorry, número 7. 7. Boom. So need this one to go in further because I don't want it to overlap or conflict with the one right next to it. Just put a little bit of a shadow right there. I have no idea if I'm going to come back to it. Maybe have it curve. Let's try that. It didn't work as well as I'd like to hope, but we'll roll with it. Okay. Small, this one. Put in the detail. I think what gets me so quiet about all of this is that I don't want to blame anyone. I think I get conscious thinking about the people I knew from college, and you know, I did have a great experience. I learned a lot, I think, more so outside of class than I did both, I mean, that's kind of the point of college, right? You're supposed to. This detailing did not come out the way I'd like to hope, but that's okay. I learned more, from, in part, just to validate my own college experience. I learned a lot from my readings. I think more than I think that's kind of the point, though, right? You're supposed to learn a lot from your readings. There's a lot that I learned. I don't want to invalidate that by, feeling self-conscious at all about it. Because I don't think I normally do. I learned a lot of cool stuff. In addition to being a gender and sexualities major, I also got a second major in Native American Studies. There's a lot of classes that I took that were very, very fascinating. Very fascinating. I'll never forget some of the things that I learned, some of the experiences that were shared, and I think it's very, very much impacted my own sense of being. It's helped me really, come up with a different point of view on how I've lived my life and where to take it. So it's been healthy. Just the politics. This just complicates things. This guy's gonna got like tentacles and stuff. Can't really see where that's going, but just there. Let's see. Let's give him another one right here. I think one of the things I'm learning here is where I kind of want to start setting boundaries. But I also want to share. I want to share my point of view. I think this line is a little too dark. Might need to compensate, but it is what it is. It has been drawn. I really love drawing with pens. I picked this up from my digital art teacher, who picked it up from one of her professors back in college for her. That drawing with pen is really a great just, you learn a lot from it just because you can't really, can't erase anything. Once you draw it, it's on there. Let's see, what are we working with? Need to outline my pens, but see how long we've been going with this. 49 minutes, that's awesome. I didn't think I'd get to 49 minutes without getting too anxious to keep going. The first one I did was the longest one I did was about 6 minutes, and then I stopped. But that's okay. We try until we get it right. And I will fix this. Working with my PVC pipe. So yeah, let's see. So who am I? I am Reyna. I am a young artist. I am also transgender. I seem to get very quiet and self-conscious about the fact that I have a lot of points of view on politics, and almost don't want to share them all just yet and get into it. Which I guess is right. Wait, the camera. Now I gotta find myself not deleting this, because this is where my mind's going. So, this is what we got so far. I'm digging it. liking the monsters and the animals. I'm liking all the eyes. Let's detail this eye a bit. Let's go into it. Let's get some water. Quick water break. Let's come down here. See what I can make. So I told myself I would just kind of go with this and not really plan it out. I was really doing it just spontaneously, but I hope it translates. You know, I think it's I'm thinking too much on it, and I'm worrying, but I'm hoping that once I really like watch this back, I'm gonna say, no, actually, this is good. Just keep it, just keep going. And so that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna hold myself to that and just see where I think where the improvement will come. I think I can become more concise with what I talk about, and if others like it, then good. I'm gonna do the best that I can to get better at that. I guess what I'm talking about is just sharing who I am. But yeah. So the pandemic hits. I believe it was March 13th that the lockdowns happened in California. So that's where I'm at, in California. And I'll never forget, I was at work and we got word of the lockdown. And we immediately learned that we were essential workers. And they even were going to keep us because they weren't sure if the next shift was going to show up, because we knew that we were going into this lockdown and people might not realize that, hey, you still gotta come to work. Like, you know, we ship. Like, there's no way that we're not gonna be able to send our supplies out. And that was the big thing, especially for me and my coworkers. You know, especially at the beginning, like, I'm sure this is relatable, but we were all so terrified. You were hearing maybe that 1% of all people maybe might become fatal to this, and that's like, I'm sorry if I'm getting the numbers wrong. I'm thinking in my head, beginning this is going to happen, I'm thinking like 1 million people are going to die. We're almost close to, I mean, we're about like a quarter way to that number, but it's still, you know, it's a lot of people. It's so many lives. I've lost people in my family, my girlfriend's family. We've lost someone. It's some serious stuff. And that night that the lockdowns really hit, because, you know, the days before, I realized I'm a little bit of when I get too excited and when I talk too much, I'm one of the peeps that will accidentally let out saliva. So if that ever happens on any of these artwork pieces, I want you to know I draw around them. If I ever, like, I don't know if this is one right here, but I will just use that to my benefit. If it's a cool detail, I'm going with it. I don't know. I don't think that's actually one, so maybe I won't much attention to it. But it was terrifying, You were going to work the days before and hearing about Sundance closing being canceled, the NBA being canceled. The NBA was big. It's like, I don't even watch sports, and it was just like, what is happening? Like, this is going full force, and I need to pay attention to what's going on. So let me I watch a lot of Joe Rogan. He's my favorite podcaster. He's the only podcasting person that I consistently go to. I like a lot of other people. I love Duncan Trussell. I love Joey Diaz. I love those are the main ones. I mean, there's a lot of others I like, but they get into let's pop it out. So I got a device here that has all my podcasts. Now we'll get into it as time goes on. Those are the main peeps that I love. There's a lot of others, but those are the main ones, or at least the ones I'm comfortable sharing. Nah, I'll be honest. There are a lot of people I can share that I don't mind. But anyway, I listen to a lot of Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan had an episode, I believe it was March. It was like the week before the lockdowns. He had it with a pandemic expert, and that really changed my point of view. I started to really tell my girlfriend and talk to her like, hey, I think this is actually going to be more serious than we think it is. I really didn't have an opinion about COVID before it got where it got and where we're at. I was hearing a lot of my coworkers talk about it, or a lot of other people. I shouldn't call out my coworkers. They're great. But a lot of people in my life were just saying, it's going to be like H1N1. It's going to be this and that. And, I couldn't help but agree with them at the time. I was just like, yeah, I'm just going to do my thing. I watch a lot of politics. I watch a lot of news, but, you hear COVID, it's mostly a disease that's been, or, what's the other word for it? We've been saying pandemic so much that I don't even know. It's a contagion that's being an issue in Asia, China, for quite some time back in November, so to think, it's going to hit here, we're going to have a whole pandemic outbreak situation. Morgan Freeman's going to come out. It's it wasn't a concern. And so when I first saw that podcast with Rogan, I was just like, holy shit, this might get bad. Might get really bad. Like, maybe we should start stalking. And it came, and, we're now, what is the exact months? Is it 9? I mean, does it just, the fact we're at the end of November already, and it's December, and we're going into now one of the hardest winters, our country has seen for such a long time. It's been so long now. When it first really started to happen, me and my girlfriend we were doing our best to do shopping for our family. We were the main peeps that were going out, doing the shopping, getting the food, to take care of ourselves, to take care of our family, take care of our parents, calling family to check in on them, making sure everything's okay. Are they all right? Kids coming home from school, college students coming home from school, finding out that graduations were not going to happen. My sister had a really cool person talking at her keynote, or is that the word? Isn't it keynote for a convention? The main speaker, oh my goodness, I went to college, I don't know. The main speaker that was coming to talk to them was someone, they're not a hero of mine. I mean, they should be. I should consider them a hero, but, I think I reserve that to other people, or to particular people, to distinguish them. But someone, I really, I love their work. I've followed, one of the main things that they did, and, I admire this person. I think they're a great job. If they would have talked at my college, I would have lost my shit. She wasn't gonna be able to be there for that. It's heartbreaking. It's frustrating. You know, they put so much time into this. And I know those are the main things everyone says, but to know that you could have gone there to experience seeing someone like this talk at your college, you know, it's rough. And now it's going to happen this year again, and it's this coming year again. I know we have a vaccine on the way, but they still need to figure out how to transport that to everyone. It's going to take some time. It's going to take some time. So the pandemic happened, and, you know, we're all very curious to see what leadership's going to do. And I'm going to have to start using the names, because I gotta start distinguishing who we're frustrated at. I think that, you know, this country is very divided right now, and it's a lot. And, you know, I think you can tell from a lot of the other things I've gone into that I'm a very sensitive person. But I'm very mindful. I try to be pragmatic, even in situations where I may not know the answer. I think that just not talking about it is not going to help, and it frustrates me that I'm at a place where, you know, I have a hard time talking to people about it. You know, I may talk about it with some people better than others. I think that's a big thing. I can't not acknowledge it. And I say that we're frustrated with, because I think that a lot of the COVID denial, a lot of the conspiracy theory. I'm okay with the conspiracy theory. I think that it's important to be critical. You know, I think saying that it's just the flu is a bit much, but I think it's important to be critical of those in leadership. And I think that that's the reason why there's so much of it, because there was such a lack of leadership and such a lack of a response. You know, I'm talking and just drawing, and I realize that, no, this kind of still works. I really like that this just cuts the fuck off, and like there's just like this hanging piece. That's cool. I may ruin it by just putting a dot, but I really just want to put a dot. I'm just gonna put a dot. I'm not gonna have to connect it. Just right there. Little dot friend. Cool. But yeah, there's just such a lack of leadership. And the things that they did were just either not substantial, or just completely just damaging. Frustratingly so. You know, I don't know if you could hear it in my voice. I think I need to recognize this, but I've had to numb myself of this frustration. I remember at the beginning of the pandemic, especially back maybe in April and May, I was so mad. Like, and I was carrying it with me. I was so angry. So angry. And get this, like, I'm very much, like I said, let's just get into this. Let's just express my point of view, or at least what I've heard and what I'm hearing. And mind you, I listen to not just like one person. I listen to like a ton of people. I need to do more reading his Substack, but I love Glenn Greenwald's work. Let's put that name down on the word bank. We finally got another name for the word bank. Who's number 2? It's Glenn Greenwald. Glenn Greenwald, y'all. I started following his Substack. I was already following him on the Intercept, but then the man left Intercept, and now he's on Substack, and I've been following him since. Who's Glenn Greenwald? Glenn Greenwald is he's a journalist. Is that the best word? He's a journalist and an editor. I've been following this. I've been following this line of thinking that, like, at the end of the day, like, I'm a tranny from LA, and I know that a lot of people don't like that word, but I'm sorry, it's the word I like. It's the word that best fits. I'm a tranny from LA. What do I know about it? I really don't. I just do artwork and love music. I could talk to you a bunch about the music I love, but besides that, what do I really know? It's just shit that I've heard. But anyway, Glenn Greenwald, he's a journalist. He's a journalist from... he's most notably known for breaking the Snowden leaks case situation. He's got a great talk with Joe Rogan. He's been on Jimmy Dore show. You know what, let's write Joe Rogan and Jimmy Dore too. Even though I know, let's not write Joe, because, like, he's so big, but Jimmy Dore has been so cathartic to watch in this terrible time. He's Jimmy Dore. Jimmy Dore is great. He's great. Jimmy Dore show. Leave the word bank there just in case. The Jimmy Dore show. He's been on Jimmy Dore's platform, and he just calls out what I think rightfully so is American imperialism. He's very critical on things that are not American, or I shouldn't even say not American, just not right, y'all. I say y'all too, which also probably would distinguish a bit of where I went to school or anything like that. I may say y'all. It's one of the things I did like, and I do take from gay stuff. I mean, I take a couple of things. I mean, I think I've already kind of situated myself as being a little problematic there, because I'm using the word tranny. And then on top of that, I'm talking about Rogan, and I'm talking about, what's the other word that I use right now? Anyway, I'm sorry if I'm too loud too, by the way. I realize, like, whispering like this is also good volume. Apologies for being all over the place. Glenn Greenwald. So Glenn Greenwald is just on top of we were talking about y'all. I like it. I think it's great. I think it's a great way to include everyone. You know, men, woman, trans, all that stuff. It's great. I use it. You know, I've got some progressive in there. I think I'm a progressive. I still refer to myself progressive. Anyway, Jesus. I hope, like, just with time, my sense of personality and where I am in this world, in this chaotic mess, can just kind of show itself. I mean, I feel like I'm just talking to myself. Like, I just need to get it off my chest and just express who I am and not worry about those things. Because I'm not worried about being transgender. I'm worried about being again, we're not going to use the word center, but just, I don't know if it's critical, the word. I'm a leftist with, I think this is capturing of all of America right now. There's just so many different views. We all have a bunch of different perspectives. It's beautiful. It's great. But it's also, like, dividing us because we don't have a central, framework. I think that central framework should be the Constitution and some of the foundations of the country. What makes it an issue is that we also have a very deep-rooted issue with a lot of those foundations that were built on a lot of bad shit. You know, we obviously are aware of. And me not saying it on here just doesn't take away from it. It's just a lot of bad shit. And what I'm trying to talk about is COVID, and what's going on and how I've been seeing it and where I'm mad. And yeah. But I think that freedom, I think these basic issues of free speech and being able to work out our issues. Yeah. Anyway, so I listen to a lot of Glenn Greenwald. I listen to Jimmy Dore. I listen to Joe Rogan. And so I listen to a lot of points of view on this. And where I'm saying the lack of leadership, when Trump really got in front of all of this and started to do his press briefings, we really thought, he actually might be doing a lot for this. A lot for us, a lot for the country. He might actually be taking this seriously. Because it didn't feel like it at first, of course. Now we're aware that he knew, but let's wait for a moment before I get into that. I need to define this ridge, because if I don't, it is going to fall into all of this. Let's just define it a little. And let me say my issue with Trump. I'm a person who listens to Glenn Greenwald, Jimmy Dore. I'm not gonna entertain. I don't entertain the Russiagate. I think it's as crazy as the mail-in fraud. I know these are other things, but my issue with him is that he's been this whole time a pushover. The real problem here is Congress. The real issue here is McConnell, Pelosi. I can go further, but I'm going to stop there. They have not helped the American people, and it's a disgrace. It's a disgrace of everything that truly is American, and they don't care about that. So this is another reason why I feel like I need to really start putting my artwork out there and start putting myself out into the world, because I'm just concerned. I'm a concerned citizen, and I'm wondering if we're living too far out of bounds. It's a Bad Religion quote. Sometimes I'll do that, I guess. Anyway. So what's making me so mad? CARES package. Wasn't enough. Now you may be thinking I just want money. No. There's stipulation in there that makes it basically so that we gave a bailout, gave our money to larger corporations to do what? To buy assets. What are assets? Primarily property of all of the businesses that are being tanked right now. They're going to buy that property, and when that property is being bought by them, it's basically being bought at like a discount because it's no longer valuable right now. And then once the market goes back into whatever we're about to go to, I don't want to call it normal, they'll sell it at a higher price, and they basically just made away with a lot of wealth, a lot more wealth than they ever had. See, my issue isn't necessarily capitalism. My issue isn't let's see what else is there. What's the other things we point out often? I mean, even cases socialism. It's not even. Let's add another name on the list. I really like Kyle Kalinske. Yeah, start painting myself as a big progressive. I love his stuff. He's great. He words things fantastically. He was on Rogan's End of the World #2 election night. Yeah. The best way I've heard it said, and I'm not going to write this name in the word bank, but he's great to look up if you just want to try sounding his name out. Dylan Ratigan said something at the beginning of this pandemic that put a lot of the rest of this year into perspective for me, and I think calmed me down. Dylan Ratigan, I believe he's an economist, and the thing Dylan Ratigan said, he was on Jimmy Dore's a bunch. The thing that Dylan Ratigan said is that, look, at this point, the American government is hostile to you. And it's hostile, but that doesn't mean that we can't love our family, that we can't dance, listen to music, enjoy music, and do our best to live our lives. That's not taking away from the fact that things are about to get real rough, especially, I said earlier this winter that we're going into, things are about to get real bad. I mean, I'm not even trying to fearmonger, just at least from what I'm hearing from what I'm watching in the news. Like, so many people are out of work. Stock market is doing great, but so many people are out of work. You see these food lines in Texas. You know, there's these crazy narratives about, and I'm not even going to get into this. I think this is this is already going too far into politics, and I didn't want this video to do that. I wanted it to be a mixture of my own personal, and I wanted to keep that balanced. You know, I love, who is it, Kyle, who's saying this right now? He's saying that, look, the Republicans don't want to, they say, oh, the crazy socialist Democrats, even though they're not socialist, they're neoliberal, want to defund the police. And then what Kyle says is that, but what they're doing by not passing a stimulus is defunding the police. See, a lot of states right now are struggling. They don't have the means of being able to pay for a lot of the social facilities that we need, a lot of the social services that we have. And I don't mean social services as like, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Social services just give the money to the people. I'm talking about like policemen, like firefighters, like sanitary workers. We're defunding them right now by not giving a stimulus, and we could even be losing federal jobs. It's bad. So all of this is just say I'm frustrated. I will talk politics on here when I think it's necessary. I want to talk more fun stuff, so I don't always get into just politics. I think even the next time I do this, or the next episode, I actually want to talk Star Wars. I don't know if I'll be ready when. I think I will. We'll see. Because I might just like start this up tomorrow and just go for it again. But that'll depend. We're going on for an hour and 17 minutes now. This is fantastic. I didn't think I'd go this long. I thought, no, maybe I'll just stop after a little time. No, just keep going. I'm enjoying this, actually. Enjoying this. I got lost up. Wait, let me back up. I got lost back up here with all the personal stuff, and then came back around here and maybe got lost in the piece, but I ended up getting off my chest the political feelings I'm having. It frustrates me, you know. I feel like yeah, there's a lot. Anyway, so let's see what else to talk about with the pandemic. Yeah, but you know what, just to circle back on this, I think that any of the non-mask wearing, the conspiracy looking, I think it's just because this whole response has been butchered, and people, you know, I shouldn't even say butchered, it's been a failure. I don't even call it a failure because they've done a little. It hasn't been substantial, it hasn't been enough, and I think that some of the wrongs that were done, like the whole, I don't want to blame this all on Fauci, but I think it was the whole decision to say these masks aren't working, when really what they wanted to say was, please hold off on buying the N95s and a lot of these protective gear because medical people don't have them. And then not being able to just communicate that to us, and failing to get that out to us, and in fact just saying they don't work, and then coming back a day later and saying it does. I remember the WHO had an issue with this too, about, what was it? I don't even remember if you were able to catch it again, or if you're, it was, if you're not a symptom showing person, you can still spread it. I remember Rogan going crazy about that. I remember the news just being like, actually reporting on it, and then the next day being like, what is going on? Legitimately. I think it just creates this distrust. So I think that's something that's really important in getting where other people are at. Because I've argued with a couple of people. I've argued with people about this, and what I'm trying to understand every time they talk to me is not, I don't judge them. I just want to know, you know, where are you getting this from? Not where are you getting this information, but just, you know, where is your line of thinking? Because I don't want to judge you on it, because I think that this is a chaotic time to get your information, and we all get it from different places. And I shouldn't just, you know, make false assumptions on you when I really don't know you. By the way, I love how this turned out. Look at this. It's so fun. Look at all the little monsters and little things. We got a little valley down here. I like landscapes coming out in pieces. It's really fun. I like how this thing just ends out into nowhere. It's great. It's fun. It is. It was Imaginative. It was fantastic. Let's go over here, because this has got nothing. I actually really don't know how much longer we're going to go if I get to a place where I don't have anything else to talk about. Because I'm thinking pandemic, what else do I want to share? Where else am I at? Because I'm doing well.